All right, so before we begin, does anybody have any question or challenges with the assignment? Any questions, challenges with the assignment? Anybody? Okay, Samuel, please let me mute you so you can go ahead. Where is Samuel? All right, Samuel, go ahead. After you with Manuel. Go ahead, Samuel.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was asking why use return
Why
what
what?
of for error message? Why is that in a function or whatever we are declaring? Why do we
Okay.
use return? And yes, and why not use console.log instead of using return? So
You
why
know
do
the
we use
project
return?
is
Other
about
ones started
returning
earlier
responses.
from each function or whatever status or whatever. We are always using console.log. We are always using return. And I thought return is just to end the entire block of code.
Hello, Samuel. I didn't get your question. You can please speak up. I didn't get that part. You said, why don't we use console log?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear
Yes,
you.
but
Go
using
ahead.
return to return a function.
Okay, your
I
question
said, why
is, why
not
are we using
console
return
log
statement
maybe
instead of console log?
yes.
Your question is, why are we using
Yes,
console
please.
log instead of why are we using return instead of console log?
Yes, exactly.
All right, you can mute now. I will.
Exactly. That's it. That's my question.
All right, you can mute now. I will address that. Emmanuel, please go ahead. Emmanuel.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. So one of my challenges is
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This import and exporting. I find it
Okay,
very difficult to
difficult. Okay,
understand
the
it.
import and export. All right.
That is one place I'm having serious challenge.
All right, I get that. So you can mute now. Chinedu, you can go ahead. Where's Chinedu?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. You can mute now. Chinedu, please go ahead or mute yourself. Chinedu, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Please go ahead.
Okay. I don't actually have challenge, but though the whole process was very slow for me,
Okay.
but I'm yet to complete the assignment. I've connected my database, my functions. It's just to complete the because I selected assignment 2, so it's just to complete my product customer base, customer schema, and
Okay.
do all the other manipulations. That's all that is left for me. I've been having challenges with lights.
All right. You can mute now. Alabi Benga, are you there? Please go ahead. Alabi Benga, please go ahead. Can you hear me? Is he here? Alabi, can you hear me? No, you can't. Okay, Kenneth, please go ahead. Kenneth. Where is Kenneth? Is Kenneth in this class? All right. All right, go ahead now.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Please speak up.
Okay, on my own side, I'm not having much challenges, just that I've set up everything and connected to the database, but I just want to be sure that everything is working fine. And electricity, there is no light for some days now on my side, so I could not use my laptop. So that was where I'm stuck. But while I'm trying to do correction, my database keep crashing, and I was having something like I tried to find the solution. It was like it said it's either the connection is not stable, something like that. So, but majorly is light challenge that I'm having. So that was why I've not been able to submit. And I don't want to just submit it. I want to make sure that this one, everything I'm doing is working perfect. So I need
All
little
right.
time to get the light on, and maybe tomorrow, from now till tomorrow, I think I will have light to finish up.
All right. All right. Who else? No other question. So what we intend to do today, I wanted to go through everybody's project, and that would tell me that you are ready to move on to the next phase. So, but if I don't go through your project, I may not be able to move on to the next phase. But what I want to ask is this: should I give you from now till Monday to complete the project while I go ahead to teach authentication? Now, authentication will still be in line with what you have as your project, but authentication will have its own project, but it will still be in line with what you have going on. So if you say if I should give you from now till Monday, you drop one. If I should give you from now till Wednesday, you drop two. If I should give you one now till Friday, three. So 1, 2, 3. Which one is it? 1, 2, 3. One is Monday, two is Wednesday, three is Friday, two Wednesday. Who else? Revision. Authentication is also part of revision. You will still do it. Don't worry. It's part of the revision. Who else? Wednesday, Monday. Okay. Now with this Wednesday, we actually have an assignment. Okay, I'll leave that. I'll skip that. Wednesday, 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 Wednesday. So Wednesday it is then. What I will try and do is first let me attend to the questions we have, or should I just go ahead with my project and then so I will leave the project for now and then give it from now till Wednesday. But let's continue with what we have now. Introduction to authentication is still the same thing with what you have as your project. I want to be sure that I am recording this and you can see my screen. If you can see my screen, please drop a thumbs up. If you can see my screen, please drop a thumbs up. Thank you. All right. All right. Thank you. So what I will do is I will explain this authentication in a way that it will still serve as revision for those who are still having tough times with their, what is it called, with their own project. So I am starting a new project for authentication, but it will still serve as revision. Command plus. Sorry. All right. No light, battery, nothing. No. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. So I will start with initializing MP. Of course, we all know this. I don't think this is where you have a challenge, but let's go ahead. So the first thing is initializing npm init -- yes, and that is it. Now, if I get to the part where you are finding it difficult or having a challenge in the project, please let me know so I don't cross there. And for the questions we have the difference why we're using console log and or why we are not using console log but the return statement and then the import and export, I will explain that in this authentication. All right. So initializing a project, and the next thing I want to do, I make sure that this file here is the same file I will create. Otherwise, you'll be having challenges. So this is index.js. Now I need to set up my server. I need to set up .env, and I need to connect to my database. So I need 3 dependencies to connect and set up my server and also set up development environment, the process environment. I will use Yarn. And I'm sure you know why I am using Yarn by now. Do we have any new students? Sorry, I forgot to ask. Do we have any new student? If you're a new student, please drop a comment. If you're a new student, drop a comment now. No new students. All right. And also, I got a response that you all don't attend the variety night on Friday. Is it variety night also? On Fridays. Now, this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Although, if you want to apply again, you can, but make do with everything, including the variety night. I think that is what it's called. So, for those who don't attend variety night, it's time to meet up with some students, other persons, and sorry, I was going to clear. So because I want to install Express for my server and then .env for my environment variables and Mongoose for my database, I want to believe you know why I am installing each of these dependencies. Now, this is not where you have a challenge or you're having challenges. So yarn add express.env and Mongoose. Now, Express is for my server, .env is for the process environment variables, and then Mongoose is to connect to the database. So I will hit enter, and it will install the 3 of them at the same time. If you are using this, you will not be using Yarn, you'll be using npm, except and unless you have installed Yarn. So the next thing I want to do is to install nodemon, yarn add -d nodemon, and I want to believe you know why I am using this -d flag for dev dependencies. I have a question here, do I? Okay. So yarn add -d nodemon, and then I will hit enter. So I've installed all my dependencies. The next thing is to set up my script. I will set up 2 scripts, the start script and the dev script. So the start script will be for Node to run index.js, and my dev script will be for nodemon to run index.js. So be sure to see Mongoose, Express, and .env here, and also nodemon. So I have this, and for here, I think I am done. Make sure that this is your main file, which is exactly what I have here. So to set up my server, I will bring in Express. Const Express is equal to require the Express I installed. Then I want to set my app to run on the Express server. If I get to the part where you are still confused, please ask questions, stop me. Okay. So const app is equal to Express, and I want to set my app to listen on a port. listen. Because I want to use environmental variables, I'll bring in .env. .env is equal to require .env. Then I will configure .env. Now you can do this here at the same time, or you bring it down to the next line. Let me just bring it down for the sake of those who might be confused. .env, and I have this. So I need to create a .env file, which is a .env, and here I will set my port to be 5000 for now, and I'll keep that. So back here, I want to create a variable for port. Const port is equal to the process .env .port, or 8000. And then I will tell my app to listen on port. When it starts listening, it should run this arrow function. Now this arrow function is going to console log for me what my port is. So say server starts running, or server running on port and $port, like this. So, and now I can set up the test route. I'll say app.get, app.get, So app.get the home route, run this arrow function. Now, I want you to take the request and the response, send back a response. Now I will explain the first question. Return a rest.send. The status should be, why am I not getting IntelliSense? What is wrong? JSON, and the message will be welcome to our Access Bank server. So here, now the first question is, why are we using return response instead of console log? Now, initially when we started the class, I explained to you that this backend is not just for website, it is also for mobile apps, it's also for dashboard, any software that's a front end. And we are using Postman to test it. So if you do console log, the only place you get to see this message will be on your own browser, like your own browser with your own computer. Now, if you are not returning a response, if you are not sending a response and in form of JSON, it means the other person who is using a different device or a different application will not get whatever is coming from your back end. So the backend, now some persons build backend to render HTML pages. I don't want to talk about that, but majority of backend developers, you build your backend to send responses. Your job is to do the arithmetic, do the calculation, do the logic, do the algorithms, do everything, but send back a response. That is your job. Because what is the point users downloading your app if they don't know what is going on in your back end? The same way we have a computer. Why do we need a monitor in a computer if the computer can do the whole job? And the computer can do everything, but we need to see what is going on. We need to see what it is doing. That is why we send a response. The user, the front-end developers, they need to see what is going on your back end. Now, if you use console log, you will be the only one seeing it. But if you return a response, anybody who is using an application that is connected to your backend will see what is going on your backend. So that is why we use responses or that is why we return responses instead of using console log. I think I've answered the first question. So what I will do is I will then run my server to see that this is actually working. And this is hot. Like I normally use an external server. If I get to the part where you are confused, npm run dev, sorry, npm run dev, and that will be nodemon. So my server is running, and if I go to my browser and it's running on port 5000, so I will do localhost, and the port has to be 5000 / enter. And now it says, welcome to our Access Bank server. I want to believe nobody is having a challenge with setting up the server. I want to believe that. So if we are good to go to the next place, please drop a thumbs up so I know we are good to go to the next phase. Yes, exactly. You can only see your console log on the terminal. You can't see it any other place on the terminal. All right. Then let's proceed. The next phase is to connect to a database. Now, there are different databases that you can use, but for this program, I find MongoDB very easy for you. Now, it is easy to understand that if you understand how to use MongoDB, then you can move on to any other database that you want to use after now. So the first thing is go to MongoDB Atlas. And we are using Atlas because Atlas is already deployed to the server. So you are not deploying it again. All right. So the first thing is to log in. All right, I'll log in with Google. And I think I'm using this one. Sorry. Okay. So when you open MongoDB, like I said, there are 3 things you need to do before you are able to connect to this database from anywhere. The first thing you need to do is to set up network access. Now, you set up network access to allow connection from anywhere. That is the first thing. Without that, you cannot connect to this database. So you click on add IP address here, and you will see allow access from anywhere. Allow access from anywhere. So I will click allow access from anywhere to set my IP to 000. So click confirm, and you have this. Okay. All right. Now wait for it to get active. You need to see that it is active, otherwise you cannot connect also. So the next thing you want to do is set up a database access, a user that can connect to this database. Now, this is for those who are still having challenges connecting to database. But if you can connect to database, fine, you pass the side. So you need to create a user that will be connecting to this database, and your user must have the role of admin. So I think I will set this as youth tribe, and then E123456 as my password. Now the role has to be either the Atlas admin or the read and write to any database. This one. So I have this. I'll click on add users. Now I have my user. The next thing is to build your database. Now you click on database to build a cluster. So when you click here, it will ask you to pick your free tier, set up a cluster name, and all of that. You won't see it because I have passed that stage. But if this is a new database, you will see. So you get to do that once. Or if you want to build other projects, you still see it. But because I am setting up a new database, I have tried. So sometimes I think this is building. Sorry, my database has been dormant. So that is why you see this. So you wait for it to finish building and click on connect here. Sorry. You click on connect. You want to connect to your Node.js. You want to connect to Node.js. So you click to connect your app, this first one, and you may not see it. However it comes, you're just looking for this connection string. Okay, sorry, let me copy that link. All right, I think that's the meeting. Yes, you can have 2 free clusters. It's not like having two. You have one free account, and then you can have multiple clusters. So if you look at this account that I have here, here, these are free clusters. Bluetop, Dating Site, Homegram, Project One, Realty, Smart. So these are test projects. I use this account to test projects, and this is your own. You try. So you can have one free account with multiple cluster databases. So you can have multiple clusters, but one free account is allowed. So I will click on connect again and access your driver data using MongoDB. And here is the connection string that I need. I'll copy it. Now, okay, I want to believe you are not asking any question any other place. It is in this question and answer. So I will add that to my connection, to my process environment, MongoDB underscore URL, and set it to be this. Now here is my username, and here I need to add my password. This is what I was asking for in the assignment. Submit your connection string like this. It has your username, but it doesn't have your password. So I think my password is this: E123456. You try. I want to believe so. So after you copy your connection string, you want to write a function with Mongoose to connect to your database. Now, there are different ways to connect to a database. Now, everything I'm doing is to keep it very simple so that you understand. There are people, or what I do is my app needs to connect to my database first before it will start listening for requests. So it will connect to database before it starts listening for external requests. But here now, we are setting the two of them separately. Now, it doesn't matter. It still works. It's fine. I want you to understand it first before we go deeper into that. So I will bring in Mongoose. Const Mongoose is equal to require Mongoose, like this. So Express is equal to require Express.env is equal to require .env, and Mongoose is equal to require Mongoose. Now, the reason why we are bringing in Mongoose is because we want to use Mongoose to connect. So mongoose.connect, where should it connect to? It should be this URL here, this MongoDB URL. So what I will do now, I can't add this URL directly here. I can't. Now we'll still add it the same way we added the port. So first we start with the process .env and then MongoDB URL. So this is how to connect to your database in one line. But like I said earlier, it gets a little complicated more than this because for me, I need my database to connect before this will run. So before my app starts listening, this will connect. So I export this function to another file, but I'm not going to do that now. So if you see some persons doing that or doing something different, it doesn't matter, that it doesn't mean that what you are doing is wrong. Sorry about that. So if you see some persons or other developers doing something different, that it doesn't mean that what you are doing is wrong. And what I've noticed in the tech community is that a lot of senior developers, now it's not like they try to intimidate junior developers, but they like to show off. So there are developers that like to show off. So if you come across those developers, it does not mean that what you are doing is wrong. No, you are just keeping your own very simple. That is all it means. You are keeping yours simple, and this will work on any project. But we will get deeper into that before you start building live projects. So the next is .then. When this happens, when it connects, I want to accept the promise or handle the promise this way. What I want to do is to console log for me that MongoDB is connected. So I want to say that MongoDB is connected and save. If I save that, I'll check. Now my server is running and my database is connected. Now, this is how to connect to a database. If you have any question, drop your question. If you don't have any question, please drop a thumbs up so that we continue. If you have a question, drop your question. If you don't have any question, drop thumbs up so that we continue. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So the next thing we want to do after connecting to our database is to set up a schema. And I want to believe you know what a schema is. A schema is the format with which we want to save data. The schema is the format with which you want to save data. All right, Deborah, sorry about that. Sorry. Nice. Nice. Sorry about that. So, like I said earlier, we use Mongoose to connect to our database, but we also use it to set up our schema and our model. So if I want to bring anything now, but I forgot to explain the import and export. This is how we import, and this pattern of importing, let me write it first, is equal to require Mongoose, like this. So const Mongoose is equal to require Mongoose. All right. Now this is how we import in EX5. The reason why I am using EX5 is because it will work for everybody. It will work for everybody, and you can still use this format to build any project. Is allowed with Node.js. But if you are writing ES6, this is how you would import. Import Mongoose from Mongoose, like this. So the first one, which is this, is for EX5. And this second one is ES6. And another reason why I do this a lot is because as of last year, that I'm very sure, ES6 has not been implemented in Node.js. So we still go with ES5 in the normal JavaScript. But if you are typing in, if you are using TypeScript, then you can do this. I use TypeScript and I do this. But if you are doing JavaScript, you do this. But I'm sure it is going to be implemented soon, and we can use ES6 and all of that. So, but this is how we import. So if you see this, this is ES6. If you see this, this is ES5. They are the same thing. They will do the same thing. No difference. They will do the same thing. So if you see developers importing this way and you are importing this way, it does not mean that what you are doing is wrong. No, it's still the same thing. Absolutely the same thing. So another thing is this. I want to set up my schema. I will start by saying const auth schema. The auth is like the authentication, is equal to new mongoose.schema. Sorry. Now, the reason why I am doing mongoose dot here is because I did not import the schema directly. Now, you can import the schema directly like this, and you will not need to do this. So this would then be the auth schema is equal to new schema. But if you are importing mongoose alone, mongoose, then you have to use dot. Okay, if you are, I will also talk about that when you are exporting. When you are exporting, because the way you export will matter how you import. The way you export will then tell how you import. So I will talk about the ES6 way of exporting. So, but here, I want to believe you know what I'm trying to explain here. The reason why I am doing mongoose.schema is because I imported mongoose alone and not schema. So I would then add the object that I need. Now, all my users need to have an email, and this email will have a type. You know what? Let me break it down. So the type will be the type of string. Next will be required. I'll set it to true, like this. So every user should have an email. And next, I want to work with maybe their full name together. I don't want their full name together. So give me your full name. The type has to be the type of string. And I'll set required to be true. Required to be true. Next, I'll take their password. Now, this is the same thing we've been doing in our project. So that is why I said authentication. Now, when it comes here, this is Mongoose validation. I don't take this part seriously. Now, whether you add true, whether you don't set it to true, I don't take this part seriously. Now, some persons will go ahead and set error messages here. I don't take it seriously. You have to do your own validation as a backend developer. Now I will show you how to do your own validation. This is just Mongoose validation. So Mongoose is not going to save this if it doesn't see the email. It's not going to save the first name if it doesn't see first name. That's for Mongoose. But as the developer, before the request will get to the part where you need to save, you need to make sure that the user is sending all the data. So whether there is email, whether there is no email, before it gets here, you already know. So you bounce the user back if there is no email, or you proceed with the request if there is an email. So on this part, I don't really pay attention to this validation. This is just Mongoose validation. And also when you are building a large project, when you are building a big project, or if you are involved in a team that is building a big project, sometimes you need to manually handle your validation so that you will not have issues here in your schema. This part will just be to save data while you handle your validation as the middleware. And I want to believe we remember what a middleware is. A middleware is a function that runs in the middle, just like the name. A middleware, a function that runs in the middle before from the point where the request is made to the part where the request is accepted. Something has to happen in the middle. That is a middleware. Okay, I will import the schema. I will do that now. The schema and the model, they are not the same thing. The model is that the format. The model is the format. No, sorry. The model is not the format. The schema is the format. The schema you want to follow is the format. But the model is a combination of the name and the format. The name you want to appear on your database and the format that the database will use together, all of them, that is your model. So your model is how you arrange your database, what you name your database, and the format which your database is using. All of that put together is your database model. So the name of your database, how you arrange it, and the format with which your database is using. So, but the schema is just the format which your database is using. So let me import just the schema here and leave the Mongoose. So I'll remove this. So this is just me. This is me destructuring schema from Mongoose and using it directly here without calling Mongoose again. All right. So I have the email, I have the full name. I want to have the password. No, sorry. This has to be a type of string, and that's all. Now, there's one key we can add here. No, it cannot work without destructuring because we did not install schema. What we installed is Mongoose. So if you do something like this, this means that you are taking Mongoose and you are storing it inside this variable called schema. So what is currently inside there is not the schema, but the whole Mongoose package. So you are taking the Mongoose and you are storing it inside this variable called schema. What you have here is not the schema, but the whole Mongoose package. That is why we normally name this Mongoose, because we know that this is the whole Mongoose package, and from it you can pick out just the schema and any other thing. But if you want to take only the schema, you have to destructure the schema from Mongoose like this. So you have to destructure the schema from Mongoose like this. You can't import it without destructuring. Yes, yes, yes. You can have more than one model. For example, let's take Access Bank, for example. Now, every user, Access Bank has a model for users because you are able to log in, log out, retrieve your password, save your transaction password, and all of that. So they have a user model. Now, they also have what is it called? Account model, because every user has an account balance and so on and so forth. They also have transaction model because you are going to be seeing your transactions. So you can have multiples of models. You have so many models, not just one. Now, it depends on the kind of project you're working on. Some projects you can have up to 5, some you can have up to 12, 20. Now, imagine if you're building a food delivery software. Now, if it's a food delivery software, you know that people will register, so there will be a user model. You know that vendors will upload food. That means there will be a food model that's for just food. You know that there will be transactions. There will be a transaction model. You know, there might be delivery. If you want to add delivery, there will be the delivery model for people who do delivery. And any other thing you want to add to it, there will be model for everything like that. So you can have multiple model. You can have employees. You can have customers. You can have transaction. All of them in one software. You can. So many of them. Now, it's very unlikely to see your project, a full project, using only one model. Very, very rare, except the project is a very small one. But mention any project at all, it has more than one model. All right. That aside, I think we can proceed. So I have just the email, the full name, the password. I can take the phone number if I want. Let's do phone number. The type can be, I don't want to make it number. Should I make it number? I'll keep it as a string. I don't want to make it number. The type should be string, phone number, like this. So I have my schema, the format with which I want to save data. The next thing is to create const auth. Now I'm calling it auth. You don't have to call it auth. So if you see here, I'm using auth, I'm using auth, I'm using auth. I am the one deciding to use auth, and I know why I'm stressing it. I just decide to use auth. You can call it anything. You can call it users, you can call it authentication, you can call it whatever you want. But I like calling it auth. Auth is equal to new. Did I import Mongoose? No. So I have to import model here. So instead of the mongoose.model, I will then do just the model and then pass in auth and auth schema. Auth schema, and then I can export. Now, let's talk about exporting. Because we are using EX5, that is why we're exporting like this. Module.export is equal to auth. Now, this is me exporting in EX5. Now, but if it is ES6, and mind you, if I use module.export, it means this is the only file, or this is the only thing I'll be exporting from this file. If I want to export multiple, I would then put an object. But if I just put auth, it means that auth is the only thing I'm exporting from this file. Now, this is for ES5. Let's stick to which. Now, they are the same thing. Now, they are the same thing. If you are using Mongoose, it's the same thing. If you are destructuring, it's the same thing. I just want to show you what ES6 mode export is. I'm not doing ES6 here. I'm doing only ES5. But I will show you how it is done with ES6. But I'm doing ES5. Now, if I want to export this with ES6, I just need to add the keyword export like this. And that means I'm exporting this auth here. If I want to export it as the only file, I will then add default. So export default. I will not need this const again like that. But for now, we're not doing ES6. I'll leave that. We're doing ES5. So this is my schema. Do you have any question on the schema? Drop your question. Do you have any question on the schema? Drop your question. No question. If you don't have any question, drop a thumbs up so that we continue. If you don't have any questions, all right, thank you. When are you to use capital letters and small letters? Now, here, you can use small letters if you want. Here, you can use small letters if you want. Here also, you can use small letters if you want. Inside here, you can use small letters. But inside .env, it must be capital letters. Now, I don't say it must be because maybe some developers are doing something different. But for me, the reason why I use capital letters here is so that I know what variables are external variables or what variables are coming from my schemas, my model, and what variables I define locally in the file. You know, here we define a variable here is in small letters. So if I see this app anywhere, I know that it is within my file, within my main files. But if I see capital letter like this, I know that this is either coming from my process environment or from my database. That too, no other place. But if I see a variable with the small letters, I know it is within the file, anywhere within my project. But if I see capital letter, it is coming from my process environment or it is coming from the database model. That is when to use capital letter and small letter for me. But for you, you can use small letter if you want. Nothing wrong with it. What is the differentiation between the auth and the new schema? Now, the auth is the name. The auth is the name of our model. So we are saying our new model will have a name called auth. And the format it will be using is the auth schema or the auth format. So that is just the relationship. Now we are saying our new model will be called auth. And the format it will use is the auth format that is defined here. So that is the relationship between the two of them. So the difference between ES5 and ES6. So ES5 rather, is considered to be the old version of JavaScript. So the JavaScript that I learned or we are learning has two parts. It might have 3 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts as they keep upgrading JavaScript. But we have TypeScript, that is like a superset of JavaScript. So I don't know if they'll be upgrading more of JavaScript or more of TypeScript. So TypeScript and JavaScript are the same thing. So if you know JavaScript, automatically you understand TypeScript. You just need to learn a little about types like that. So the difference between ES5 and ES6 is, now it is not EX as this ES. It's actually ES like this, as in ECMAScript, short for ECMAScript. So ECMAScript is considered to be another name for JavaScript. Now, JavaScript is not the only ECMAScript. There are other ECMAScripts, but JavaScript behaves more like an ECMAScript. So they call it ECMAScript because it has more of the properties to be considered as an ECMAScript. And that is why it's called ECMAScript. So now for short, we call it ES, short for ECMAScript. So we call it ES. Now the 5 and the 6 simply means the old version and the new version. ES5 is the old version and ES6 is the new version. Thank you. So please, why is the auth in quotation mark? Now this is not quotation mark, this is a string. Assuming we want to use numbers, it will not be in quotes. But because the name has to be in strings, that is why it is in quotes. It is a string. That is why it's in quotes. If we are using numbers for the name, it will not be in quotes. So I want to believe you understand that. All right. Thank you. So no other question. If you don't have any question, drop a thumbs up so that we'll continue. If you don't have any other question, drop a thumbs up so that we'll continue. All right. Thank you. So now we have our database connected. We have created a schema. Now we want to test whether our server is actually getting data from the front end. We want to check if our server is actually getting data from the front end. Now I am taking this very slow because for the sake of revision. For the sake of revision. So I don't want, I believe that we will not have the need for revision again. That is why I'm taking it very slow. Explain this part that will serve as revision. No. The model and the schema do not look the same. Now, let me explain. This object here, or this variable here, now this is an object here, and it is stored inside this variable called auth schema. This is the format. Here, this is the format. Now, this name here is the name we are calling here. All of this put together is our model. So the schema is just this format here, and we are calling it inside here. The model is a combination of the name and the format, whereas the schema is just the format. I want to believe you get that. So the model and the schema are not the same thing. The model and the schema are not the same thing. So just give me a minute. Let me check something. I want to be sure that my internet will not go off in the next minute. All right, we're back. Where did I stop? Okay, this is, though that's not it. I'll close this and I have this. So like I said, the schema and the model are not the same thing. The model consists of the name that you want to call that part of your database. That part of your database is like your model. That part of your database where you want to save the user's login details, that part is called the model. Or that part where you want to save details about your product, that part is called a model. So your database can have different parts. Each part will store different type of data. Now, before it stores the data, you need to give it a name. So which is this name we are giving it here? That part we are calling it the auth. Now, before it also saves data, you need to tell it the format with which it will use to save that data. And that is why we define the format here, and we are calling that format here. So your database is going to have different parts or different sections. Each section is referred to as a model or a collection of models, whatever you want to call it. But I think I'll refer to it as just a model. Each part is like a model so that you understand. Now, if you see the name, you know that, okay, this is the model for this. If you see the format, you know that, okay, this is the format for this, because you will not use the same format for all your models. For example, for users, for product, for employees, for customers, they will all be different models. They will all be different formats. So the format alone is called the schema. Now, the format and the name is called the model. That's the two different things now. So I think we got that right. So we want to test if our server is actually receiving data from the front end. So I will try using Postman. Sorry, this is the last project I was working on, and yours is here. All right. So I will make this larger. Sorry. So if this screen size is enough, let me know. Drop a thumbs up if this screen size is enough. If you can see what is on the screen here. If you can see this here, drop a thumbs up so that I know. If you can see this part of the screen, drop a thumbs up. All right, only one. Thank you. So we have our Postman. Now you can use so many softwares if you want. The reason why we are using Postman is because we cannot build a front end right now. That is why we are using Postman. So what I want to do is to set up an endpoint that will accept my data, and the data I need is email, full name, password, and sorry, I think I have misplaced that. All right, so let's create the endpoint. I'll come here. I'll say app.post. Now this is going to be a post request, and I want to believe you know the different type of requests: the get request, the post request, put, a patch, and delete request. So this is going to be app post, and I'll do /register. Now you can call it maybe login, no, like sign up or register. Anyone, you can call it any other thing you want, but calling it register, it means that if other developers see it, they know that this is the registration endpoint, or this is the API that handles registration. So here I will need the function. Here is where I need the function that will run. So what I'll do is I'll just put a placeholder. No, let me not put a placeholder. I'll just leave it like that. My server is running and MongoDB is connected. I will create another file that will store or house all my functions. So for now, I'll call it functions.js. This is going to be housing all my functions. Const handle register is equal to an async function that will accept the request and the response and return a rest.status, and the status will be 200. Now this is just a dummy function, it's not doing anything. I just want to use it for the sake of revision. Return a message that would say successful like this. Now, but we can take it a step further to accept the data a step further. So we can say the const, the data we want are coming from the request body, request the body. And what are the data we want? We want email. We want the user's email. We want the user's full name. So I'll put it here. We want the user's password. I'll put it here. We also want their phone number. Now this password, if you notice, I'm not adding required here, but sometimes you can. Now the reason why I'm not adding required is I will manually require it from the user. So if the user does not enter a password, it will not go forward. It will stop there and return back. So whether you add required there or whether you don't add required there, it doesn't change anything. So long as you are manually on your own with your church mind handling or validating the data. And I will always advise you validate data on your own. I will advise you validate data on your own. Now you can leave it for Mongoose to validate, but validate on your own. So I'm accepting the email, the full name, the password, and the phone number from here. So what I can do is console log it. Console log the whole of this object here and save it. Now this function will not be accessible from other files, so I need to export it. In order to use it outside, I need to export it. And it's not going to be the only function that I will create, so I will export as an object because it's not the only thing I want to export from this file. So I'm exporting handle register and save it. So inside here, what I can do is either import the whole file, which is import function, or I destructure to import the files, the functions one by one. These are two ways. So what I mean is I can do const import function, like this functions is equal to require, and require will be requiring the file. Sorry, where do I have that file? I have that file inside my model. Sorry, I'll bring it out. That was a mistake. I wasn't supposed to create it inside the model. It is supposed to be outside. So I couldn't see it here. That's why. So I'll try again. /. Now I have my functions. So what I'm doing here is I'm importing the whole file, the whole thing inside that file, and I'm storing it inside this variable called functions. That is what I am doing. Now, if you do it this way, it means that in order to access the functions, you need to call this variable first, called functions. which is here, function, and then dot, the name of the file is called handle register. Why do I have okay, I need to put comma. So if you import the whole function like this, then in order to access it, you call the name of the variable dot the name of the function you want to access, like that. But if you don't want to do it this way, another way would be to destructure the functions directly, meaning I can do const destructure from require dot slash functions. So inside here, I will pick out the functions I want. I want the handle register. So I will copy the handle register and I will put it here. So you don't mix the two of them. How you import will determine how you use the functions. If you're importing the whole functions as one and storing them in a variable, then you call the name of the function and then you access the function you want. But if you are destructuring, then you can access the functions individually like this. Your choice. Anyone you want. But don't mix the two of them. And you cannot use the two of them at the same time. No, you can't. No, you can't. There's no need using the two of them at the same time. Use only one. Stick with only one. And okay. So which one should I go with? Number one, number two. Which one looks cleaner for you? Number one, number two. Which one looks cleaner for you? One or two? All right. Which one looks cleaner for you? Importing this way as one or importing this one or two? Two. All right. So I will remove this here. Sorry, we've already gone with one, two. Oh, we have a tie. So who is actually going to be the deciding person? Two. Any other person wants to add to it? One. We still have a tie. Any other person? Two. Okay, this is what I will do. I will leave the two of them and I will comment out one. Yes. Now, only one will run, but I will leave the two of them. So there's no point deciding. I will leave the two of them. All right. You should. By now, you should understand how to export and import functions. By now, you should. Very, very important because you will do a lot of importing and exporting when it comes to back end. You'll be doing a lot of importing and exporting. So you can import this way if you want. You can import this way if you want. Now, you can call the variables this way if you want. You can use it this way if you want. So I'm keeping the two of them. So what next I want to do is check what is inside my function. I'm accepting the data from the user and I'm console logging the data that I accepted. So what I would do is copy this and put it in my Postman or my front end. Here. All right, so I will go to Postman. Here. I think I will need to close this ones. I don't need to. Do I need to save this? Yeah, let me save this. I'll save this one. So allow me to just give me a minute to save this so that I don't have to write it again and again. So close this. Save that. Close this and save that. And then close this. save that. And close this also. Just a minute. Now, the reason why I'm saving is because I may need these endpoints later. I don't want to type them again. So you have them here saved. That's the reason why I'm saving. I may need them later. I don't have to type them again. I just click on it and I have everything here. And that is why I am saving it. So let me create the new one. Now this is a new post request. I'll pick posts and it will be local hosts port 5000 and it's /register. That is the endpoint. This is the URL for the endpoint. And then I want to add data in the request body. And the data type has to be raw. It has to be raw and it must be in JSON. So the body, the raw, and the JSON format. So here I will then paste these variables. I have this. I have this. I have this. I have this. I can beautify. So I have the email, the full name, the password, and so what I will write here is example shift at example@gmail.com. The full name, I'll write my name, David Sampson. And for those who are actually asking which one is my own name is David. Sampson is my surname. My password will be E123456. And my phone number will be 123456789 and 10. So I have data, and if I click send, my server is crashing, and we need to find out why the server is crashing. So I'll check here, and my server message says cannot destructure property email as the body is undefined. Who knows why we are getting this error? Drop the answer in the comment section. Why are we getting this error? Cannot destructure property email of the request body as it is undefined. Thank you. We are not using a middleware. We need to add a middleware. So anytime you encounter this error, it means that you are not using a middleware. And how do you use the middleware? I'll come back to my main file and I'll add app.use. Sorry, not this one. And then the Express.js. Use the Express.json middleware. And if I check, my server is running, MongoDB is connected. So if I send my response again, I'm getting this as my response. And to check my server, I am seeing the console log data here. Now, this is a simple revision. We've gone from setting up a server from scratch to connecting to a database to setting up our server to creating an API to handle a post request, and we are actually testing that API with our postman. Do you have any question? Do you have any question? Drop your question. If you don't, you can drop a thumbs up so that we can continue. No question, drop a thumbs up so that I know to continue. Okay, go ahead, Samuel. Do you need the mic or you will type it? Just use the mic. Where is it? Just use the mic. Okay, I will explain that, but let's hear from Samuel. Samuel, go. Okay. Go ahead. Are you there?
Can you hear
No,
me
no,
now?
Samuel, go ahead. Yes.
Okay. I was trying to find out for the body. Is it because we are trying to create something inside? That's why we need the middleware. It means if we are getting requests, we may not need the middleware to get it right.
Okay, let me explain. All right. Now, there is forget the fact that these two things, the two things I mean, this server and the MongoDB are running on my system. Forget that fact. Let's assume you have a mobile app on your end. Now, the backend is not installed in that mobile app. The backend is not there. You have the backend somewhere on the cloud, maybe AWS or maybe DigitalOcean or maybe Google, any of those clouds, Google Clouds, anyone. So what you have on the mobile app is just the front end. That is all you have there, the front end. Now, that front end will be making a request. That front end will be making a request to the cloud. Now, since it's making a request to the cloud, the language with which the cloud and your mobile phone are interacting, they have to be the same so that they will understand themselves. For example, you understand what I'm saying. You can hear me because I'm speaking English. What if I was speaking my native dialect? What if I was speaking French? Would you understand me? So you understand me because I'm speaking English. Now, I've worked with some developers that they don't speak English. So what they do is they will have Google interpreter. While I'm speaking my English, the interpreter or the Google interpreter is interpreting for them in their local language. So I am speaking English from my own end. The Google Interpreter app is interpreting English and translating to their local language. Now, that Google Translate there is working like the middleware. So, your application is speaking to the cloud in the form of JSON. The cloud needs to accept that data in the form of JSON. But the cloud will not understand what that data is. So it needs an interpreter to interpret what that JSON is. So that means it will need that middleware to interpret the JSON to the object that it can understand. Now, if you look at this thing here, these are objects. This is not JSON. This is object. Everything we are coding is variables. The variable of strings, data, numbers, objects, and array. We are not coding with JSON type, JSON data. Now, JSON data is this, where you have double quotes on every end. This is JSON. So we are not coding like this. Rather, we are coding with strings, objects, numbers, booleans, that are data type. So for the cloud to understand this, it needs an interpreter to interpret what that JSON actually means and then translate it to what the cloud will understand. When the cloud understands it, it will perform certain logic and it will send back response. Here, if you notice, we are sending back an object here, is it not? But the object, we are covering it up together and wrapping it inside JSON. So whatever we are sending, we are wrapping it as JSON and we are sending it back to the front end. So the front end may or may not understand JSON, but they might need interpreter, but that is on their own end. So, but on our own end, our backend will not understand the JSON the way it is, the raw data JSON. It will not understand it. It will need an interpreter to actually translate it into something it can understand and work with. That's for, I hope that answered your question. Now, the difference between the Express.js and the body parser. Before now, we need the body parser to actually translate JSON for us before now. Some persons still use it before now, but Express has been upgraded that it now comes with its own body parser, and that body parser is called the Express.js. So the two of them are the same thing, but one comes as an inbuilt application with Express. Another one is external, you have to install it. All right. So I think I want to believe that answered your question, the difference between Express and the body parser. The body parser is an external body parser. The Express.js is an internal body parser. The two of them are body parsers. They're doing the same thing. So now that we are getting...
Okay, sorry, sir. Sorry, sir. In extension with that question, no, now we install those models in that package.json. And
yes.
So if you are deploying, maybe during deployment, is it that particular environment? What is installed is also deployed to the cloud, or is our local machine?
Okay, let me explain. Are you done?
Yeah, secondly, the package .lock.
The what?
You mentioned that the most important...
I can't hear you.
You mentioned, I think there's normal JSON and there's one that is locked. So I was trying to find out. You said the package.json is the most important. You must not delete that one. I need to be deleted.
Yes.
So what of the lock? Is the lock also something that is still a package? There was a time when I was working on the assignment last week. When I installed my models, I discovered there was package.lock, JSON lock.
Yes.
So I was wondering, I was looking at, should I push that lock into the .git ignore, or is automatically part of the node models?
Okay. So let me explain. Now, the package.json file is the most important file in your backend project. If you delete it, the company is gone. They will not only serve you a colored sack letter, they will sue you to court because the company will close down. That is one. Now, I have yarn lock, and that is because I am using yarn, and that is why I have yarn lock. But if you are using npm, you will see package lock.json. Now, this package lock.json just contains information, directory, registry, anything about the dependencies you installed. Now, it is telling them the version you're using, where exactly it is coming from, the registry exactly is coming from, the name, whatever is coming with it, the type, all of that. So each of these represent the dependencies. Now, if you install Express, some of these dependencies here come with Express. So Express is using certain things here. Now, if you look at here, you see the body parser here. Now, we did not install body parser, but this body parser is actually coming from Express. So these are inbuilt dependencies that come with the packages you install. You don't need to delete it. You don't need to. Now, but if for any reason it gets deleted, you can always get it back. Yes, if for any reason you delete the package lock, you can always get it back. But if you delete the package.json, that is the end. C'est fini. It's finished. So I think that answered the question on that part. Now the next part is, when you deploy this project, like I said, the most important file is the package.json file. So by the time you deploy, the server is looking for only the package.json. Now, the reason why it is looking for the package.json is so that it will see the dependencies that are required for this project to run, and it will install them on the cloud. So while you have node modules here, you are also going to be having node modules on the cloud. So the cloud, whatever you deploy, will be looking for the question? The thing is this. Let's say you delete the package.json today. You delete the package.json today. Now, you can reinitialize it today. You can reinitialize it today. And if you install any dependencies, it will be still coming with these version numbers. It will be coming with this version number. So it will be coming exactly as the same thing with the one you deleted. But God forbid, you delete this package.json today. Tomorrow, you want to install it again, and they have updated Express. Now, if you look at this, this is Express version 4. This is .env version 16. This is Mongoose version 8, 8.40, 4.19.2. So when you install and the number of the version has changed, it will no longer be the same thing. Now, but in some cases, if the difference is not much, let's say last month and this month, so even if the version number changed, like this one changes to 3, it doesn't really matter. They will do the same thing. If this one changes to possibly 20, it may not change much. They will do the same thing. But if this change to 5, some of your codes will not run. It has to be exactly the same version, except you are bringing in DevOps. Now, DevOps is like an advanced part, which I don't want to cover yet, which I may not cover in this class because it's way, way beyond the scope of this class. Sorry. So now DevOps has containerization and all of that, load balancing, so many things that it doesn't really matter the what is it called? It doesn't really matter the version of the dependencies you install. It doesn't matter. You can install any version dependency. So you are running on a virtual machine, and that's like a whole lot. DevOps is called development and operations. So DevOps begin when the developer is done with his job. Let's finish developing and then, sorry. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can generate it. Like you can delete this one now and then do npm init again and install the dependencies again. They will come back. Now, the only thing is, you know the dependencies you are using. Currently, we are using 3 dependencies here. And we are using, if you come to our package.json, we are using nodemon. So these are like 4 dependencies. It can easily be generated because this is a small project and it's not going anywhere. Now, what if you are handed over a project? Or, for example, you've built Access Bank project and it is running very well. And then you go and delete package.json while you are trying to add a feature. It means that some of the codes there, some things will not work. Now, let me explain. Let me just go in details and explain. Here now, we don't have any issues because if you look at it, version 16 of this is working very well with version 4 of this. And it's also working very well with version 8 of this. But if for any reason we upgrade this one to version 9, we are not very sure that version 16 of .env will work very well on version 5 of Express. That is where I would say the codes will not run again. Because now we don't have any issues. If you upgrade, if they update Express, .env will check whether .env is still running with Express, with the latest Express. If it's not running, they will upgrade their own too. If you update Express, Mongoose will check if their own dependency is running with the latest Express version. If it's not running, they will update their own too. So let's assume you delete the package.json file and Express has been updated, but .env has not been updated. And then you install the latest Express. Now, even though you can install the current Express when you know it, here we're looking at having just 3. What we have up to 20 or 30, you can't really tell how many dependencies you are using. Let me open a project for you. I'll open a backend project here. This is a project I'm currently working on and is live. Is it this one? No, it's not this one. Sorry, let me do that again. That will be in my server and my package.json. So if you look here, you will see plenty dependencies I'm using. Now, if you come down, you also see dev dependencies. There are plenty. Can I cram all of these version numbers? And what is the guarantee that the version of Stripe that I'm installing is going to work with the version of Twilio that I have, or the version of the cookie parser that I have? Or you understand? Or maybe down here, will it work with the version of Socket that I have? So the moment you don't know the version numbers you are using and you install a new version number or upgraded version number, most of these dependencies will not work with that particular one. So, but for Sandbox, once you create your project, they take record of what you are actually using. So whether you delete your package.json, it can be generated. But here, nobody's taking record for you. You are the one taking record. The package.json and you, and your God, actually, the 3 of you. So the package.json knows, you know, your God knows. And if you delete the package.json, you will not know again. Maybe your God will know, but you will not know. And how do you install that exact package? So this is a challenge that actually gave the need for DevOps. So, but if you are doing DevOps, all of this does not concern you again. You can do whatever you want. But if you're not doing DevOps, which you are not doing for now, just make sure you don't delete your package.json file. That's all. So where did we stop? I will close my project. That's a paid project, but for your sake, I'm opening it. So where did I stop? All right, we've been able to handle the function, and we are getting the data, and we are console logging the data. So any question? If you don't have a question, drop a thumbs up so that we continue. No questions, drop a thumbs up so I know to continue. But if you do have a question, ask your question. Let me confirm that this is actually recording. Yes, it's recording. All right. Thank you. So now we have gotten the user data. We can save it if you want. Let me save. Let me go ahead and save. So what I'll do is I'll say const new user is equal to new. First, I need to bring in my model. My model is coming from const auth is equal to require /model auth schema. Is that auth schema? That's why I have it. I called it schema. I would have called it model. So I think that is why you are having the mistake. Now this is not the schema. The name is supposed to be model, not schema. The name is supposed to be model, not schema. That was a mistake. Model like this. All right. So the model is everything, including the name and the schema. All of them put together is the model. And if you see here, that's why I created this folder and I called it model, because the model is everything together, the name and the schema. Sorry for the confusion. Sorry. So next is, now I've brought in my model. I would then say this is a new auth. I want to create an object that follows this auth format, or these are model format. So I'll put this here. I have this, and then what do I want to do? I have this. The next thing is now I am creating a user object, a new user. I can then await to then save this new user dot save like this. And then here I will return the new user or the user to be the new user like this. So we are accepting the data. We are passing the user data to create a new object, user object. And then we save that user object on our database. We'll return a message that says successful, and we'll return the user object as the user details. So that is it. And to confirm that my database is still running, I have this. I'll go to Postman and I'll send this request again. Now I have my user and it's being saved. So that is one part. That's something I want to show you. One. Now, the first thing is this. We may not want two users to be using the same emails. So there are two ways to do it. Now, I'm done with the revision now. I am entering authentication. I'm done with the revision. I am entering authentication proper. So if you have any question, ask your question now. This is all about post request. So with post request, you can do patch requests, you can do delete requests. Yeah. You can use anyone. Thunder client is fine. Anyone you want. So long as you are sending response and sending a request and you're getting a response, it's fine. It doesn't matter what you're using. There is Insomnia too. If you want Insomnia, you can use Insomnia. Okay, the ID. Which part of the ID should we do? Should we do the get request? Now we're definitely going to get. You know what? Let me do it. Don't worry. Let me do it. I will then do the get request to get all users. App.get /users, or let's say all users. I have a get request for all users, and then I want to create a function to handle all users. Const handle get all users is equal to an async function that accepts the request and the response object. Here we'll be returning a response with a status of 200.json, and it will have a message to say successful like this. So this is a simple function. You know what? I can copy this function and duplicate them here so that I don't have to be creating it again and again. I will just call this one example. The reason why I created the example so that I can easily copy it and use it without having to write all of those things again. All right, so I have a function to get all the users. What I want to do is when you want to get all the users, you create a variable here. The variable is for all the users that will be returned from the database, and you say await. Our schema is called the auth.find. Now this auth.find means find everything. Whatever you find, store it inside this user variable, and then return a response with a message and the users like this. So I need to export this function to down here, save it. Now it's exported and I can use it here. So the name of it is this. Make sure that you import it. Sorry, I don't want to import this way. Make sure you import it here. After this, you put comma and you say handle get all users like this. But if you're not using this way, you can then do functions dot, it will bring out all of them and you can accept anyone like that. So let's save this. I think my function is ready. I'll put it here, handle get all users, put command here and save. I'll copy this endpoint. So when you hit this endpoint, it will call up this function. And what the function is doing is handle get all users, find all the users on the database, store them in this user variable, and return all the users. And that's all. So I will create another request here, and it's going to be a get request to local host, but the endpoint will be all users. And I'll send this request. Now I'm getting all users. But I want to add one more thing for the count so that I know how many users are being returned. So I'll say users.length. I just hope I spell length very well. Sorry, I know I was going to miss it. I think this is length. I don't know why I missed it, but send. Now we're getting the length. So this is just one object that is returned for us. So what is next? What is next? What is next? Now this is how you get. This is how you handle get users to get all the users. Now you can get one user. Let's say we create another user. Before we create another user, you know what? Let's go ahead and create another user. I'll call this example 2 and send. Now the name is going to be Prince and it's going to be, yeah, because we're doing this because of you, so it has to be your name. So I'll send this request again. I have 2 users, and if I make to accept to get all the users, I have 2 users being returned. The first is David Sampson. The second is Prince, like that. All right, so now we have 2 users, but we want to be able to return only one user. We want to return only one user, not all the users on the database. So I'll say const handle get one user is equal to async. It's an async function. Sorry, I said I'm not going to type all of these things again, and I'm typing. Yeah, so I'll change the name to handle get one user, like that. And sorry, okay. Handle get one user. Now, to get one user, you need to know the ID of that user. So you should be asking for the ID to be sent, and the ID should be sent in the request params, like this. Now, some developers do this, which of course I am some developers, I do this. I am part of the some developers that do this. Other developers do this because ID is equal to request.params.id. So anyway, you see, now the reason why I'm adding an extra D is because the 2 of them are the same thing. It will throw up an error. So I'm adding an extra D to differentiate this one from this one. So these 2 things are the same. So you can do it this way if you want, with just one D, not double D, or you can do it this way if you want. Now I do this way. I like the structuring a lot. I don't know why. I like the difficult things, that the easy and simple things become difficult to me. So I go the difficult way, and when it's time to do something easier, it becomes difficult. All right, so let's go the first way there. So you need to accept the ID of that user. That is the only way you can find the user with that ID. So you then create a variable called user is equal to await in our schema dot find by ID. Find by ID, and you pass in the user's ID. So what you are saying here is that our model should return the user that has this ID here. That's what we are doing. And then we return the user here. So we accept the ID in the params. We tell our schema, the old schema, to find the user that has that ID and store it in this variable. Then we return a response with a message that says successful and a user. That's all. I don't know what you mean by, please, Samuel, go ahead. Tell us what you mean by return multiple or several types of users. Go ahead, Samuel. I want to understand your question. Use the mic.
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, you said user by ID, just one user, one particular, no, or several users by ID.
So your question, what is the question?
It's just to return one user. So I was trying to find out, is it still the same approach to return several number of users? Maybe
we already did that here. We have that here. This returns all the users. Now, if you are asked to return 4 or 5 users or 6 users at the same time, it means they will be sending you all their IDs either in the params or in the body. So you tell the auth to find all the users one by one. You find this one, you save it in an array. You find the second one, you save it in an array. When you are done finding all the 6 users, you send back all the array. But that is on a higher level. And I don't think I have seen anywhere. No. It can be done. I think I have seen where I did it once. But it's not always the case. The case is, if you come to Jamb office, say you are building software for Jamb. Now, the Jamb administrator or the Jamb director, once he opens his dashboard, for example, let me show you a project we are building here. I don't know if this is ideal, but no, let me not do that. I'll leave that. What can I use? I'm looking for something I can use. All right, let me use Jamb, for example, or maybe Access Bank. Which one? Jamb, Access Bank, Jamb, Access. Let's use Access Bank, Jamb. Let's use Jamb. Let's say you are the director of Jamb. You come to your dashboard, you log in. The moment you click on users, you want to see a list of all the users. That is it. Now, if you want to filter users, you click to see users from a particular state. Say you click Rivers State. You want to see all the users in Rivers State. Say you click Lagos. You want to see all the users in Lagos State. Now, the next thing you might want to do is you will just see the users' names, see only their names or maybe their emails and their score, but you will not see all their details. Now, you click on one student to see the full details of that particular student. And that is where this API comes in. The first API is to get you the table of all the users. This one is to get to the table of all the users. The second one is when you click on one particular user, you know what? Let me just show you. There's no point hiding it. You can actually go ahead and use it. Sorry, let me not show you. I don't know. I'm tempted to, but I will not. I just pray I will not do that. Are you serious? Brush how to connect to offline. No, when you are connected to MongoDB offline, that's on a different level now. You are laughing. Usman, I'm tempted to show you, but I don't want to show you. Now, I may end up showing it before the end of your class, but no problem. If that happens, no problem. But for now, I will not. So let's use Jam for example. Say you have Jam, you go to Jam office, Jam dashboard. You want to see a list of all the users. When you click on each user, you want to see the details of that particular user. So here now, this API will get you all the users, whereas this API will get you the details of one particular user. So that is the difference here. So you can see all the users one by one when you click on them. The same thing happens in your notifications. If you use Facebook, you will see a list of all your notifications. But when you click on one particular notification, it will take you directly to that particular notification. It also happens for when you have people you may know. In that section where you have people you may know. So you will see a list of people you may know, but when you click on one particular person, it will take you to that person's profile to see the details of that person. So that is what these APIs are doing. The first API will bring all the users. The second API will give you, this one rather, will give you the details of one particular user. I hope I overcome the temptation of showing you that project. Now, the reason why I don't want to show the project is the project is supposed to be launched last week, but we haven't finished it. We haven't concluded. So, but it will be launched next week. So hopefully when it's launched, then I can show you. But for now, it hasn't been launched. Users are not allowed to go there. Maybe I'm allowed to go there. Maybe I'm allowed to show you, but I don't want to find out with a court order before they will serve me a court order. So that is it. I will then export this function and save it. So this function finds me one user. I'll call it here. It's already here. No, it's not. So I will come here. I will create app.get /one user. And then make sure you are importing the function that handles that. Handle get one user. So I will put that function inside my endpoint here. Now, if you look at this function very well, it is expecting the ID. It's expecting ID. Now, here we are not adding any ID. We are not telling it to expect ID. So why is it expecting ID? The function is expecting ID, but the endpoint is not expecting ID. So you need to make sure that if your function is expecting an ID here, make sure that your endpoint is also expecting an ID by passing in /:an ID like this. So this means that this endpoint is expecting an ID at the end of the endpoint here. And that is because the function needs an ID. So if the function doesn't need an ID like this one, we will not add IDs. But here we are adding IDs because the function needs an ID. And without the ID, it will not work. If you remove this ID and save it, let's say we remove the ID and save it, and then we come back to somewhere here, I'll create a request, and this is a GET request, and it's going to be local host port 5. Sorry, why am I even typing this thing? I have this to endpoint, and I send this request, and I'm getting user as null. Now, null, I want to believe you'll still remember what data type null means. Null means that it doesn't have any value. it will never have any value. It will always remain empty. That is why we have null. All right, we have null, and it is null because it is trying to find the user that has an empty ID. In our database, there is no user with an empty database. That is why it is returning null. We are not passing in any ID here at the end. So it's considering that the ID is null. So you know what? Let me console log the ID for you. I want to console log the ID so that we see exactly what is happening. Now, we're not passing in ID, but we send the request. If you check here, you see that our ID is coming as undefined. Undefined means for now, it doesn't have a value. It might have a value later, but for now, it doesn't have a value. So it's trying to find the user that their ID is undefined. And when we are getting all the users, there's no user here with the ID as undefined. All of them, they all have values. So the two of them have values, and that is why it is returning as null. So I'll remove this. To solve this issue, make sure that your endpoint is expecting an ID. Here. So you can also validate this and say, if not ID, if there is no ID. If there is no ID, you want to return early, return a response with a status of 404, not found, and a JSON message that will say user not found, like this. So you have the ID, and you are saying if there is no ID, return a response that user not found. So here, if you send this response again or this request again, and you're getting error. Now, this is because our endpoint is expecting ID. So I have to remove the ID first and save it. Then try again. Now it is saying user not found. But if your endpoint is expecting an ID, then you must pass in an ID. Otherwise, it will not work. So how do you pass in the ID? You copy the ID of the user that you want. For now, I want to get Prince. So I will copy this ID and come here, add the ID at the end here. So V, passing the ID there, and then send the request. So if I send this request, now I'm getting error Y. User, one user, I want to be sure I'm actually, oh, I didn't save this file. I didn't save this file. So now it's saved. I'll send the request, and I'm getting the user with that particular ID. That is it. So the last one, let's try to update the user. Let's say we want to change the password of this user from this to something else. Let's say we want to update the password. So what we'll do is the same thing. Let me copy this function. This function is not anything. It's just an empty response. And I will call it handle update user password. Password. Now, the name of my functions are long because I want you to understand what the function is doing. So you need to write the function in such a way that developers will see it and they know what the function is doing. So handle update user password, what will it do? It will take the ID because there is no way it will know the user you want to update their password. So to take the ID of the user from the params, and when it takes the ID, it wants to find the user. So I'll say const updated user will be equal to await find by ID and update. Find by ID and update, like this. So find by ID and update will accept 2 or 3 objects. The first object or the first thing is the ID. That's the first thing. The second thing is what you want to update it by. There is a shortfall here if I want to update only the ID. So there's a shortfall here, and I will explain that to you. What happens is if I do this, update the user password. So you take the user password from the body is equal to request.body, and then return new true. Now I want to believe you know why I'm adding this new true, so that it will return the particular user, the details that is currently on the database, not the one that was updated, but the current details. That is why I'm using this new true. Update, return the current one, the new one, not the old one that was updated, the new one. So I'll come here and then return the user details to be the updated user, like this. So you're taking in the ID, you're taking the password that wants to be updated, you find the user by their ID, and you pass in what you want to update, and then return the new one, and then you're sending a response here. So I need to export this function here and save it. And I'll create a patch request here, app.patch. Because this is not a full update, that is why I am doing patch update user password. That's my endpoint, / you pass in the ID, like this. So this is my endpoint, update user password and the ID, because the function is expecting an ID. Okay. So make sure you are importing, make sure you are importing the function handle update user password here, and then add it to the endpoint here and save. So what do we need? We need just their password. So I'll copy the password and come back here, create a patch request here and set it to be localhost. Paste this, no, not here, sorry, this is where the ID goes in. So this is coming from the body and it has to be raw JSON. Here. And the ID, let's say we want to update Prince, the password for Prince. And the new password, now the old password is currently E123456. Let's say we add something like peace here, like this. So if I send this request, it is supposed to update the user password. But like I said, if you do this way, there's going to be one error, but it's better to see. Is it better for the blind man to see than you tell the blind man? I don't know. It's better for the blind man to see it than to. So if I send this request, story. Where is that error coming from? The error is coming from where? Update user password. Make sure that this is what I am passing in. No, it's not. Okay, now I have it corrected. Send the request. It's still crashing. Why? Find user by ID. Find by ID. Okay. And I'm not getting IntelliSense. It's actually called find by ID and update. I think so. I need IntelliSense. I'm not getting IntelliSense. That's where I have an error. So I'll try again. It's still crashing. It says find by ID.
So why not just catch the error, like you try and catch and allow you to crash?
Now I'm seeing the error here. It says find by. Oh my God! I'm not even adding the ID. I'm actually pronouncing the ID, but I'm not adding the ID. Sorry. I'm saying find by ID and update, but I'm not adding the ID. I think that was my error. So I'll save it now. Hopefully to run. You know, teaching coding is not easy. The first time I got the job.
Why not catching? Okay.
Yeah, try catch. I'll do try catch later. But my first experience teaching coding, I quit because the job came urgently. I just got a call to appear in the center, and immediately I got there. They handed over the laptops, the board, everything. I said, "These are your students. Start teaching." I called the guy outside. "Please come. Please, can you please handle today's own? If you handle today's own, I will handle tomorrow's own." He said, I said, fine. Then he agreed to handle tomorrow's own, today's own. After the class, packed my bag, I went home. The following day, which is the tomorrow, they started calling me and I did not come. They said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I have quit though. I'm not coming." You know why? They say I have to build a project on the spot, like e-commerce project on the spot, and the users will be seeing you. Now, one difficult thing in this coding is that I can code alone. If I'm working alone, I'll be coding. But when you are coding and you have people seeing what you are coding, there is a lot of tension. So if you see me making mistakes and all of that, is normal. Even if I'm coding alone, I'll still make mistakes. But in order for me not to quit this your program, just bear with me and all my small errors like that. So, but I will use try catch now. I think
the errors help us to learn too. So it's not
a bad
thing.
Thank you. So let me add try catch. I'm adding try catch, and try catch is going to return a response dot status, and the status will be 500, and the JSON message is going to be a message error dot message. It will be the error message. So all of this, I'll cut it and put it inside the try block. Now, if you don't understand try catch, no problem. Just let me know and I'll go back. I'll go through try catch again. But I want to believe I've done that. You should understand what try catch is. Exactly. If you don't want me to quit, for now I can actually build a full project while you are watching. I can. But then, even though I can build the project, I cannot build the project when everybody is looking at me and they are seeing your face and you're seeing their face and you're building. Really, you know what an e-commerce website is? I wanted to I quit that day. The first excuse I gave them was I don't have transport. And they say, come, we'll give you transport. Come. In fact, send your account number, I will send you transport. I said, no, you don't understand. The transport is the main challenge. We will send you transport. I said, no. But as God may have it, all die and I die now. They say, all die and I die. If you die in front of your student or you die by accident, it's the same thing. Or die and I die. So I had to just go there. If I would die there, I'll die there. If I will not, I will not. So that's actually the mindset that I want you to have. Backend will not kill anybody. It's easy, it's simple. If you attend classes, if you're following classes. So, but even if it's not working for you, put your head, just put head. If it is going to do you anything, it should go ahead and do you. But just put head on the back end. Stay there. Don't go anywhere. Yeah, because the reason I'm saying this is we have plenty of students. We're supposed to have about 150 students. But I don't know why the others, they quit. Maybe because they feel backend is difficult. So I don't know. That is all. So like I said, I've added try catch. If you don't understand try catch, let me know so that I can explain. So but I said updating only the password this way is going to give us an issue. So let's see what the issue will be. So if I send this request now, again, find by ID. Oh my God. Find by ID. Now, find by ID and update. Oh, sorry. I was supposed to call the model first. Oh my God. You need to find, where are you finding it? You should be finding it in the model, in your database. So I'm not calling the database. I'm just calling the function to find it. Sorry, that was my error. The more you look, the less you see. Ah, you said it. Ah, Christopher, you didn't say anything. You didn't say it since. You should have said it before now. All right. Yes, you should have said it before now. Which one is you said it? Okay, let me take off try catch. I think some persons still don't understand try catch. I'll take it off and I'll remove this now. Now, but going forward, we need to be using try catch because you won't be writing your functions like this. Otherwise, your server will be crashing every time. Imagine a user sending an empty data or sending the wrong data. It will crash the whole of your server and all your users nationwide will be having server issues. So that is not expected. You should be using try catch. So whatever the error is, you catch it and you send it back to the user. I will explain try catch again. Yes, the more you look, the less you see. I will explain try catch again in another API. So for now, we just have this, and I'll send this request now. And now I'm changing the password. The password has changed to peace. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you update. I was going to show an error. I think I have actually solved it. I have solved it, but okay, I haven't. Is when you get to a higher part. Now the schema is still simple. That's why we're not experiencing that error. When we get to another part, when we get there, I will also explain that. So this is how you handle users. Now the password has changed. I can also change this password to something else. Maybe change this password to Muhammad Buhari. Buhari is the password. So if I send this request, it's going to be returning the password as Muhammad Buhari. And for now, like I said, for now, we are not doing the main authentication yet. We're just doing basic response and request and handling because the main authentication, your password or your user password is not supposed to be seen. Like I said before, imagine they hack into your database and they are seeing the user's password and their BVN. It means a lot of things will happen. A lot will go wrong. People will die. People might die of heart attack and so on and so forth. Exactly. Don't quit. Just put your head. It's nothing much. The first time is where you experience that difficulty and then the challenge. But After then, it becomes easier. Backend becomes easier like that. So, but like I said, for now, you can see the password because we're not doing main authentication yet. We will do that later. You need to hash the password and hash every other private information before saving them. So that even if they hack into the database or the database is compromised, your user details are still saved. You can see the account balance, but you cannot make any withdrawal. You can't tamper with their money or anything. Yes, the password is supposed to be hashed. Yes, we're gradually getting there, step by steps. So that is how you update the user password. Now, the same way you update the password is still the same way you might update their name, their phone number, any other thing they want to update. It's still the same way. Now, the last but not the least, oh my God. Okay, the last but not the least is to delete a particular user or delete anything. So delete, handle delete. So handle delete, and exactly. That is why hackers can see your phone number. They can't do anything. They will call you to maybe give them small information, and if they can actually get a clue. So they are seeing your details, they are seeing everything. They can tell you how much you have, they can tell you your transaction and all of that, but they can't do anything with your money. They can't tamper with it. But we are getting there to the part where databases cannot be hacked again. So we are getting there. Now, if you are deploying your server, one big challenge for you or one big thing, your selling point should be that the database should not and cannot be hacked. So you use servers that are very protected, maybe AWS, and that is why I always call AWS, and DigitalOcean and Heroku. They are very, very protected, especially DigitalOcean and AWS and Heroku. Now, they cannot be hacked. Although we had an election and we are told that some people hacked the INEC database and the whatever it is was not accepting response. So people were not able to send. Yeah, Azure is okay. Yeah, Azure is I forgot Azure, and they are all fine. The ones that first come to mind is AWS. It first comes to my mind, AWS. Azure is very good. That's perfect. So, but those ones, they cannot be hacked easily. So even though we are told that INEC was hacked, I don't believe INEC was hacked, but let's just believe them that it was hacked. But you as a backend developer, you know that it's not possible. It's not possible. Yeah, you know it's not possible because number one, where did you get my password from? Number two, if you get my password, how do you know other details, my port number? How do you know the variable names? There are so many things you will not get access to. So the person that actually did whatever he did is the main guy. Oh, no, let me not go there. Sorry, before they will fire me with a lawsuit. So sorry, and don't call me to come and testify in any court because I'm not sure. So back to where we are. Here, we want to handle delete a user. Handle delete a user. Now, before you can delete a user, you need to know the user you are deleting. So you need to get their ID from the request params, like this. And when you get their ID, you can then create const deleted user is equal to await our auth, which is the auth dot find by ID and delete. Find by ID and delete. Then you pass in the ID here. So if the user gets deleted, it will return a message that says successful. Now, this message part is very, very important. When I started coding, the first time I worked with two different teams. one is a mobile app, one is a website. What happened was that for them, some of them, I use the full keyword message. For some, I use the short keyword MSG. So, ladies and gentlemen, men and brethren, you need to pick your own, pick your race. Either you're going with MSG throughout all your projects, or you are going with the full spelling message. That's one. Secondly, success messages. You need to define the kind of success messages you send. For me, I picked the keyword successful. Now, I know that Paystack and Flutterwave, they use something like success and they set it to be true or false. So you need to be consistent throughout your backend. So it is either it will be messages or MSG, it will be successful or message deleted or this or that. Anyhow, just make sure that whatever you are returning is consistent throughout your backend. It is consistent throughout your backend. Is the auth yes, the auth is the name we use to save our database model. So if you come back to this auth model, you will see that the name here is called auth, and we're also referencing it as auth. So that is why whenever we are calling it as auth, like that. So that is the reason for using this keyword auth. Now you can call it anything, but I choose to call it auth. You can call it anything, but I choose to call it auth. Success true, that is for their developer, their backend developer. Now, instead of returning message successful, it is telling you when it is successful or not. So message success is either going to be true or false. So if you see success as true, it means it was successful. If you see success as false, you know that it was not successful. But for my own, if you see a message that says successful, then you know it was successful. If you see anything else, like here, okay, there are other messages you can send that is not successful. Maybe you try to find the user, you don't see the user, you return user not found. Maybe the user is trying to log in, their token is not correct, you tell them invalid authentication. So it is only once you will see successful. In my own backend, it's only once you will see successful. You will not see successful anywhere again. You see it once. And once you see it, you know that it was successful. So, but for payment gateway like Paystack, they use success true, and they also use status. So they tell you whether the status is successful or failed. But it all depends on the backend developer. So you pick your own race and you run it very well. So why can't or why should we not edit from the database? Now, you can edit and you can delete directly on the database. But when you are working on a live project, for example, say you are working on Access Bank backend. You know Access Bank has thousands of users, if not millions, I don't know. They have thousands, millions of users. How possible is it for you to go to the database and search for the particular user you want? Now, even if you can, what is the guarantee that you will not tamper with another user's details? So, deleting on the database is not advisable. It can cost a lot. That's one. Number two, what I do is I don't go to the database without written approval. You have to put it in writing that we are approving you, David, the backend developer, to go to the database and do this. So that if I do something else, exactly, privacy compliance too. So that if I'm in the course of doing something and another thing happens, or maybe what I actually deleted, You asked me to delete it, but you didn't put it in writing. And tomorrow you can ask me, why did you delete it? Bros, that will be problem. Oh. That is why, for me, I don't go into the database without a written approval. You have to write and say, go ahead. Now, if it's not going to be written on paper, let it be by email, let it be on WhatsApp, let it be somewhere that I know that that message is not going anywhere. So I can reference it anytime like that. That is why it's not advisable to delete or edit directly on database. So, and also privacy compliance. Now, you as a developer, imagine you go into Access Bank dashboard, backend, and you see a particular user, their account balance is reading 25 million or 25 billion. Tell me with your church mind, will you not put interest in finding out who that person is? Imagine you go there, you see 2 or 3 persons, billions, 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 million. Oh my God. You want to see who the person is. Even if you don't want to rob them, you want to make them your friends. You want to do some things that are not professional. And also, it can also give you heart attack. Imagine I have 1,000 naira in my bank account and somebody's having 1 million naira in their bank account. Which country? Is it not the same country we are in? Why does it have to be so? That's one. Exactly. Money is good. So the last thing is deleting. I think I have written the function that will do that. Pick the ID of the user, find the user by the ID and delete them. And then return a message that says successful. So that's why you save it. Now you need to create an endpoint to handle the delete. Sorry, this thing that is showing red. I hope it's not crashing. So here, app.delete /delete user. Now make sure you are importing the function to delete the user. Handle delete rather. Handle delete. Well, no, I'm not exporting it. Sorry. I have to first export it so that I can have access to it and save it. Why? Handle delete. Yep. So come here, call handle delete. Okay. Copy it and add it to the endpoint here, and then save this file. So now, if I want to delete this one, I'll copy the ID of, first I need to create a request. Change the request type to delete. Make sure that it's going to localhost port 5000. Then copy the endpoint, which is delete users. Now, this endpoint is not expecting an ID, so you need to make sure that you're adding ID. So here I will cover this here, and then passing the ID that I'm getting here. This is the ID. I'll copy it and I'll paste it here. And send. Now it says deleted successfully. Let's try to get this user and see. We send the request. Now it is returning null. Let's get all the users. And we send the request and it's returning only one user. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how you handle a full CRUD creation. Now remember, I said to be a full backend developer, you must know CRUD first. This is like the most important. The second one is the authentication. These are the two most important things to know how to do before you can say that you are a back-end developer. Now we've done CRUD here, and next will be the authentication. No. The word handle is not compulsory. The reason why I'm even using handle is so that when you see it, you know that it is a function that is doing something. You can call your function anything. You can call it get one user, whatever you want. But I'm using handle so that when you see the function, you know that that is a function name that is doing something. So handle is not compulsory. Well, you can write it handle user. That's just my own. You can write it as handle user. It will still do the same thing. It will still do exactly the same thing. So where is it here? Here and here. So you can write it as handle delete user. It's your choice. So that is all. Do we have any question so far? Hopefully tomorrow we'll do authentication. Do you have any question before we call it a day? All right, thank you. Do I need to push these codes to GitHub? Any question? But you have the last codes. Cost rep, you have the last code. You know what? Okay. Yes, I like you, Emmanuel. Not the first Emmanuel, the second Emmanuel. Yes, Francis, I need to still push this code to GitHub. All right. Should do the same thing? Oh, yes, I said I will explain try catch. Sorry, remind me tomorrow. The first thing I will explain tomorrow will be try catch. Remind me. So let me just push this code to GitHub. And I always say I would delete the old ones, but I keep forgetting to delete the old ones. They are still there. This is called CRUD. Just call it CRUD and keep it as public and create the repo. Then click here to upload an existing file. And my files are going to be inside here and they're called auth. So I have functions, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. And drop them here. And then commit changes. So I'll share these, sorry, still loading. Now, where is, what's his name? Anas. Anas, you keep submitting. Now, for the Google Classroom, you submit links that are, what would I call it? Not found. So I don't know if you are sharing the wrong file or maybe you are making mistake in the URL. This is how you copy the URL. Just click on this place. If you can't copy from here, just copy the one here on the task box. Copy that one so that I can actually see your codes. Who again does that? Anas, okay, yes, try uploading again the files. Try uploading something good. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, we're all big boys now. We're not big developers. I'm sure some of you can handle school students. Now, I have a student that was doing coding with me. The three of them, I think it was 3 weeks or 4 weeks into their training, they got a job to start teaching. So they are learning what I am teaching them, and they are teaching what they are learning. So it means they learn this week and they go and teach. They learn next week and they go and teach. Now you are about 7 weeks, if not 8 weeks. So you're not a big developer. You should be using GitHub. I don't like seeing Google Drive, or I'm not saying Google Drive is not good, or what is the other one? Google Docs, or seeing you upload the files individually onto Google, sorry, what is the name of that place again? Google Classroom. I want to see the links to the GitHub repo. You are not a big developer. Even if you don't know it, I know it for you. You are not a big developer. Be giving me links to Google repos, to GitHub repos, like that. That's what I want. And also, try on attending the variety nights. I think that's what it's called. variety night. You will learn a lot. You will meet other persons. Just drag and drop your files on top of this place. Yes, drag. Did you create here? Drag and drop your files here, and then go down and click commit. It will say. Don't drag the node modules. So without node modules, don't drag the node modules because GitHub will not allow you. Now I created Google Classroom. No, I didn't create Google Classroom actually. The organizers created Google Classroom for submission of assignments. So I collect assignments on Google Classroom, but the assignments due date or the deadline is always Friday by 11 p.m., 11:59 p.m. like that before you enter Saturday. So what I then did was for those persons who maybe submitting late, because once the deadline has passed, you can't submit the Google Classroom again. I created a topic here for assignments submissions. So if you are not able to submit the Google Classroom, submit it here. Yes, you can go ahead. What is that your name again? It's share, I think so. Please go ahead. Go ahead. Unmute yourself and go ahead. Yes, Ali, that's what I'm saying. Submit links to your Google, to your GitHub repo instead of the file. Submit the links to your GitHub repo instead of zip files or Google Drive. Where is she? Go ahead. You are listening to you. Unmute yourself and go ahead. You share. Yes, variety nights. Yes, some persons do not attend variety night. Go there, see what they are doing. You meet other students. Now, as a backend developer, don't be working alone. I had to talk to the front-end tutor that some of you will be building the backend for their main project. Now, whether the project will be called or not, we don't know yet. But some of you, maybe two or three, will be building, or maybe one person will be building the backend for that e-commerce. They're going to be building e-commerce. So one of you or two of you or three of you will be building the backend for the e-commerce. So as a backend, you should have front-end developers as your friends. You should have UI designers as your friends. You should have project managers as your friends, and also the data guys as your friends, because somehow your jobs are all connected together. There is no company that has a front-end developer that will not need a back-end developer. There is no company that has a back-end developer that would not need a front-end developer or a product designer or a project manager. So make friends with people, and you don't know where the roads might lead you to. Where is she? We are listening to you. We are listening to you. Unmute yourself and go ahead. Yes, speak up. We can hear you. Where is she the one talking?
Yes, I'm the one talking.
We can't hear you. Speak louder. Go ahead.
Okay, I said I tried pushing my code.
You tried to push your code and
It told me that it has
oh my God. I can't hear you. Now, if anybody heard her, please just tell us what she's saying. But can you speak up? Just shout. Even if hi, then go ahead. Hi.
Okay, sir. I
Okay. She has gone mute again. Yes. Huh. We are not hearing you. I thank God I'm not the only one. Sorry, can you do me a voice note on Telegram? Just drop a voice note on Telegram and I'll attend to that. So, Christopher, go ahead. Christopher, go ahead.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Yeah,
Yes,
can you
go
hear me,
ahead.
sir?
Yeah, I can hear
Yes.
you.
So you have actually addressed my question while you were trying to drag and drop the folder we worked on. I was like, let's ensure that we don't add the node modules
Note
alongside.
modules. Yeah.
Yes. So, but you've
Thank,
addressed it, so that's why I didn't raise it up anymore.
all right. Thank you. Thank you. So, anybody else? Do you have after the program? Now, I heard that Access Bank and other partners have some packages for students, best students, good students, and all of that. Some of you might get job. Now, I've had, like I told you before, I've had a project where I was teaching, and we got a call from Lagos to send the names of all the girls that they want to hire, all the girls. So we don't know why. We don't know what may come out of this. I've also been in training, and I was told to send uh, 10 best students to Lagos. 10 best student, accommodation covered, everything covered, just like that. I've had so many times. So, which is why I always want to know who is my student and who is not my student. Like if I get a request, also some persons will finish and they will get a job somewhere. They will call you for reference or maybe for assistance on the project or something. I want to be sure that you're actually my student. You don't call me if you have not been attending class, so that I will not go and, will I say, embarrass myself or something. Now, if I see you in class, I know what you are doing. I know your pace. Every one of you, I know the level you're currently on. So if I'm talking to somebody on your behalf, I know what to tell the person. So I will not go and tell you, oh, this person is perfect, he's very good, he can handle everything. And they give you a project and you cannot build it. So they will not come to me again for reference and all of that. So to be my student, you must be attending classes, and you must submit your assignments. That way, after the program, if you call me later, I can attend to you. You are somewhere in the project, they give you something you cannot handle, you need guidance, I can actually come in and all of that. So, but for you in this program, do well. If you do well, there's a package. I heard there's a package for good students, and also what is it called? Partners and people might actually be asking for developers, even if they don't ask for developers. You can actually go out there. And like I told you before, a lot of persons dread backend. They don't want to go to backend. Now, I am a front-end developer. I also do mobile apps, but most of the projects I've worked on, they automatically push me to handle backend because developers these days don't want to go there. They want to just design the front end. So they just always put me to build the back end, build the back end. So you can always get jobs. There are back end jobs out there, so many. There is no company that has a front end developer without a back end developer. And for front end, I think they have up to 300 students for front end. But for back end, maximum is 150. Now, even the 150 were not complete. So imagine who will then do the back end jobs. So there will be jobs. Now, 5 tricks remaining. What I would say is after this program, take maybe 2-3 weeks or 4 weeks to build another project, not the project I will give you, another project, so that you have 2 projects and you can apply for jobs anywhere. Now, you can call on me anytime for assistance or guidance. Even if, now, the thing is this, I may not respond the day you send your message. So please, if you need my assistance tomorrow, send me a message like early hours of the week. Like, how would I put it? If you need my assistance on Saturday, please send me a message like on Wednesday or maybe Tuesday, like that. Let it not be that you need my assistance on Saturday and you are sending me a message on Friday or Friday, especially Friday. It might be hard. Now, even if I see the message, I may not attend to you because I may be hooked up with something or another thing, any of those ones. So, but 5 weeks, finish your program, build another project after this main project, and then you can apply for jobs anywhere. Now, there will be other things to learn. There will be so many things to learn. But what I'll tell you is, do not be afraid. Now, even though they will come with this, this thing they come with, they will then put this kind of fear in you. Can you do it? Can you do it? Are you sure? Are you certain? Say yes, 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 yes. I think Richard Brian said so. Now, any job you are given, any opportunity you are given, before you think of how to do it, first say yes, I can do it. First say yes. Now, the reason why I say that is, I say it to my students because if you can't do it, I can do it. If I cannot do it, I have friends that can do it. We'll come together and we'll do it. So, which is why I want you to have friends too. So, whatever project you are given, you can build it. Now, if you can't build it, I can build it. If I can't build it, I have friends that can build it. Like that. So, that is all I'll say. Now, in the absence of any questions, you have my Telegram now. That's my number. That's also, sorry, I'm not supposed to share my WhatsApp. I don't know if I'm supposed to share my WhatsApp number or not, but that's actually my WhatsApp number. So you already have that. You can reach me anytime. So in the absence of any question, please drop a thumbs up so we can end the class. Oh yeah, go ahead. Emmanuel, do you need the mic? Where is Emmanuel? Emmanuel says he has a question. Where is Emmanuel? Prince, I'm not seeing your name, Emmanuel. Okay. Go ahead, Emmanuel. Yes, okay. There are two Emmanuel. Emmanuel Obu and Emmanuel Ako. All right. Emmanuel Ako, go ahead. Unmute yourself and go ahead. We are waiting for you. You can unmute yourself and go ahead. Who's the other person? Prince, you can go ahead. Where is Prince? Okay, now you also have a question. Prince, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, my question is, when you are trying to upload the files on GitHub, you didn't actually use a git ignore. I want to know, when do you need git ignore? Since you already know the files you are already uploading on GitHub, do you actually need git ignore? Is it necessary?
Okay, I like your question. The question means you're following up and you understand what you are doing and you understand what needs to be done. The only problem is I'm not doing what you think I should be doing. That's why you're now confused. So, but forget about what I am doing. The reason why I am pushing everything without git ignore is because I know that this project is not a big project. And even if you hack it, you get the password, you get everything, nothing will come out. It's just there. So you can push it like that. Now, but when it comes to a production app, a project that you are paid to build, that will have real users' details, you will not do drag and drop. We will use Git to push it. Now, I have not taught you Git, but I will do that. You will use Git to push it. And you must have Git ignore. You must have Git ignore. But for now, just ignore what I'm doing. Just ignore what I can do. So, where's the next person? Emmanuel Akko, we're still waiting for you. Unmute yourself. First, unmute yourself and go ahead. You can't hear me. Are you serious? All right. If you can, type your question. If you just go use the mic. Why? Yes. Go ahead.
Hello. Good evening, sir.
Yes. Good evening. There.
Okay. What I need is just a clarification on
right.
these two requests. That is the put request and the patch request. You updated password using the patch request. So I believe you can also use the put request to update just a single thing.
Yes, you can. Now,
okay.
Here, you can, but it's not advisable. You want developers to see it and know exactly what you are doing. So if you put, sorry, I'm using the two words at the same time. If you add put here, they will believe or they will assume you are updating all the user details.
Okay.
But if they see patch, they know that even before going to the function, they know that you are updating just one part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm clear now.
All right. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thank you, sir.
Do we have any other question? In the absence of any other question, drop it thumbs up so that we can call it a day. And that will be all, ladies and gentlemen. See you again tomorrow. And hopefully we'll go for a put. That's Ali. This. All right. Bye.